I'm Praveen Rao. I'm Director Marketing at SAP India. And I'm very, very privileged to be here in this wonderful city of Bhubneswar in Odisha. Global Bharat Movement was conceived way back in the year 2020, right in the midst of pandemic. When the COVID first wave was around, we as SAP felt responsible to bring together the community of emerging businesses in India to think differently, to think laterally, and come together to solve for some of the common problems that technology could have solved for them. When things started improving, we've realized that many companies, including some of our SAP customers, startup ecosystem partners, have actually done some phenomenal work by innovating on the go. Those were difficult times. Many companies who were used to working in a certain way with a certain model have realized newer, novel ways of going to the customers, going to the markets. So far, Bhubneswar is the 17th city. Over the last 2 months, we started from Bangalore, covered 7 major business clusters in south of India, including all the major states, Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. And later, we moved to Maharashtra, Gujarat. And last week, in fact, this week, we have come to central India with Indore. 2 days back, we were in Indore. And finally, we are here in Bhubneswar to meet all of you. We'll show you a quick video that what is Global Bharat Movement doing this year and what has been our journey so far. So may I request the AV to be brought up, please?
India is projecting a more self-assured version of itself to the world than ever before. Paving the way to this bulletproof economy are our homegrown businesses. Taking our growth story beyond key business hubs of India to emerging industry clusters across Bharat. As key industry clusters fire the growth engine of a new India, SAP India, in association with TV9 Network, celebrates India's holistic techno-economic growth. Welcome to Global Bharat Movement, a traveling roadshow that brings together eminent business leaders, tech visionaries, and practitioners across diverse sectors. The Global Bharat Movement 2.0 kicked off in style at a gala function in Bengaluru on 24th March. Chief Architect of Aadhaar, Dr. Pramod Verma, set the tech-led development narrative, talking about key pillars of Digital India.
India now runs world's largest direct benefit transfer program, DBT. 860 million people, 86 crore people have bank account attached to their Aadhaar.
In 5 weeks, the roadshow has travelled to 7 cities in the south. The South leg culminated with a thought-provoking keynote by Dr. Raj Gopal from IIT Madras Incubation Cell. The roadshows received an overwhelming response from participants.
2 months implementation, all credits to the team which came along with that. Their knowledge, in fact, it's what that helped. And it's a very good planned, like we planned months before itself, before we start all the operations, and great support from SAP also with respect to that.
From any technology point of view, the ease at which you can extract something is what drives innovation. And similar with SAP, I'm sure, as the gentleman pointed out, 4 weeks of implementation compared to, say, months earlier is the time.
And now, the stage is set for Global Bharat Movement, creating waves across the rest of India.
On that juncture, Ramakrishna, stage is all yours, and we look forward to your session. Thank you.
Now, when we started our journey, maybe before 2000, it was mostly, you can see some fascinating facts, like 8 out of 10 cars on Indian roads are built by Indian customers. We also have customers managing almost 100 plus world-class airports across India. And if I look back to the last 30 years, I will phase out into 3 decades. So when we phase it out into 3 decades, if you see like in 2010, our presence was merely restricted to the metro cities, right? And most of the organizations who have adopted SAP as a technology were 5,000 crore plus organizations. And the solutions what we were offering was mostly on-premise solutions. During 2010 and prior to 2010, this was the kind of adoption or the penetration that SAP had done. Now, with years passed by, in 2020, our expansion has grown to 20 plus cities. So starting from metro cities, we have started penetrating into districts and this non-metro regions as well. And that was the time where most of the mid-market customers also shown access to SAP technology who are over and above 100 crore revenues. And that was the time in 2020, we initiated this Rise with SAP momentum. Gone are those days where 100 crore turnovers companies only were looking at, okay, we would like to adopt SAP. Today, even startup companies who have not even started their operations are looking at SAP as a technology. It is no more a want, it is a need. So when we started our journey with R3 ECC applications at one point of time, the solutions were considered to be big solutions. They were considered to be like solutions designed for catering to the large organizations. But now with these cloud solutions getting evolved, the minimum IT investment is required because customers don't require any hardware. It is something like if I need milk, why would I need to buy a cow? Right, so it's an analogy which is similar to what many of our customers have a conversation with us. Now, it also has lot of advantages in terms of upgrades, right? So with the quarterly, half-yearly upgrades, the systems are also catering to the technology trends and the industry norms. So what the current requirement of the industry today is, you are always on an advanced platform. You need not depend on a lot of upgrades being created by you. But SAP themselves give you all those upgrades and benefits. Now it is an integrated ecosystem. When I'm talking about as an integrated ecosystem, it's not just core ERP, what you are looking at. You are also bringing your external partners, your logistics service providers, your asset maintenance network, everything under one collaboration, and you are looking at a 360-degree view of your business. How many of you know that since 2000, there are many companies who have gone out of business? Primary reason of them not being in business today is because of innovation. Business innovation keeps businesses in a good sustainable platform. Today, with the digital startups, who have taken almost like 20 years to reach $1 billion valuation, today it's taking merely 4 to 5 years. So that's the kind of fast growth that they are doing. Take the case of Zomato, take the case of Swiggy. So we are proud to announce a concept of solution which is Grow with SAP to our customers in the mid-market companies. This is purely a cloud ERP which is quickly and confidently being adopted by our customers. Perception has changed because today, currently we are doing a record implementation of less than a month. So there are instances where we have done this public cloud implementations in less than a month. Right? So that kind of level of this is what we are doing. So these are some of the key highlights, which of course my colleague would be speaking about that. So with all our cloud solutions, you get these key features of mobile app, SAP best practices, and it's a true cloud solution, and it's a 99.7% availability. When I'm talking about 99.7% availability, it means a lot for companies. So get started. So SAP is clearly going out of the way for giving all the support and all the information required for small and medium scale enterprises to adopt this technology and take it forward to the next level. Look forward to meet you all during the drink session. Thank you.
We have Professor Mishra, Academic Dean amongst us today. And I would request Professor Saab to be on the stage and give his perspective about changing times with technology and the role of Exam Bhubneswar here.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. India offers limitless opportunities for growth. And in that limitless opportunities for growth, this 5 trillion economy for me is just a business as usual scenario outcome. 40 is the 40 crore population who are charging this economy forward, and 40 crore people means 28% of the Indian population, which is the estimate of the middle class, size of the middle class in the Indian economy. And five are the 5 states. Only 5 states contribute to more than 50% of India's growth. And when I say limitless opportunities for growth, that means if 5 states out of 30 account for 50% of the growth, what is happening to the rest 25? That means there is a lot of scope for catching up is there. If these 25 states, they try to get their acts together, your scope for growth will be, it's limitless opportunities for growth. Now, so 28% of the Indian population belong to the middle class. Thus from a demand side, around 40 crore people are propelling the economy forward. Now, 5 states contributed 50% to India's GDP growth during last 20 years. And which are these 5 states? Karnataka, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra. We say India has become the fastest growing country in the world at 6.5% growth per annum. China is growing at 6.3. But the fact is they have an economy which is 5 times bigger than you. So if they are able to grow at 6% on a base which is 5 times bigger, just to maintain the relative distance intact, you should be growing at 30%. US economy is 7 times bigger than India's. And if they have been able to grow at 3% post GFC from 2008 to 2020, just to maintain the relative distance intact between India and US, you should be growing at 7 into 3, 21%. But we take pleasure and pride that 6.5 higher than 6.3, we are the fastest growing country in the world. India's rank in Global Innovation Index has almost improved from 81 to 46. India achieved the feat of hosting 100 unicorns, the 3rd largest in the world. More than 8 lakh jobs were created. The intention of this kind of events is like how SAP can be adapted. I think they have made it more accessible and amenable for SMEs that can they adapt it to really improve their efficiency. So, at the end of the day, innovation rests on application of knowledge. And knowledge comes from what? The education. But how serious as a country are we about education? Government's budget allocation for education sector increased from 0.4%, those are itself very low, to 0.62, but has declined again to 0.47. Innovation mostly is related to the higher education. If you see, the budget allocation for higher education has increased by 4.5% per annum compared to 6% per annum for school education during 15 to 20. The higher education system actually can play a pivotal role in shaping the innovation ecosystem, and lack of focus on this sector makes the road ahead a difficult journey. Though that is why, somewhere or the other, why we are not able to get to that manufacturing reaching 25%. Though everybody tells about it. And health is another dimension. We spend hardly 1% of the GDP on health. So I am talking about 2-3 things. One is, what is the scope for growth? Second part is, what about innovation shaping this growth? And then the tech part, when it comes, how is it helping the economy, not only in achieving growth, but also in terms of contributing to employment. If I see the contribution of productivity to growth, this is my own estimates, from how much labor has contributed, how much capital, and how much is coming from productivity. If you see between 2001 to 4, I have done it in terms of different central government regimes. 2001 to 4, it was 2.7. It went up to 3.1. 2010 to 4 was the policy stasis where a lot of scams and environmental clearance, all those things was going on. It came down. Between 15 to 18, if you see, the productivity growth has shot up to 5.5, and from where it is coming? By the way, between 15 to 18, we had the asset quality review, huge NPAs, demonetization, hasty implementation of GST. Notwithstanding all that, still productivity growth has shot up to 5.5. What could possibly explain? What explains to me is the reduction in the transaction cost in the economy, which has happened because of adoption of technology, like the online governance system, the DBT, the various things that government has adopted, which has reduced the transaction cost when it comes to interface with the government. Unfortunately, this one, I will stop with this one point, last point, is there is a need to create an employment policy. Unfortunately, India doesn't have an employment policy. We have all sorts of policy, but we don't have an employment policy as a country. What do I mean by an employment policy? There is no, officially, there is no document which maps the existing skill profile of the working age population, identify the sectors that have growth potential, assess the knowledge and skills needed to absorb the people in those sectors, and most importantly, allocate funds so that the necessary skill gap can be bridged. Thank you.
I would want to quickly call upon my colleague, Mr. Rishabh Devgan, who would be giving you a perspective about SAP's public cloud offering.
Hello everyone, SAP has brought this offering called Grow with SAP, and this is particularly to keep mid-market or the MSMEs at the center of the growth for the India's economy and how we can contribute to the growth, right? So there are 4 key themes that I will touch about today. Now, touching the first theme, running on the industry best practices, which my colleague Mr. Ramakrishna was also talking about, what it means is, while SAP has been in business for ERP for more than 50 years across the globe, we also have had presence of more than 25 years in India. What we have done so far is that we have co-innovated and worked very closely with all the industry sectors, which means more than around 25 industries is where SAP has developed that expertise over the years, which even my colleague was mentioning, that we don't need to reinvent that wheel. How can we, adapt to the solutions which are very standard to a particular industry, which even the industry leaders or the MNCs are, working at. SAP S/4HANA public cloud solution, which is the heart and center of this Grow with SAP offering, it means that your end-to-end business processes are covered. What it means is right from the procurement, or as SAP has broken into the business processes, the point of your sourcing and acquiring your products, your raw materials, till the time your sales part that is concerned with regards to lead to cash process, from the part of generating leads, different pricing models, running different promotions on that for different sort of customers, that entire portion, then linking it to the plan to fulfill portion, which is the entire manufacturing and supply chain process. So this is one kind of a tool or a scoping mechanism that SAP has developed to be very transparent. When I talked about predictability, this is something that comes as part of the solution and the first step when you engage with SAP as a customer as to what you are getting into. So this is particularly mentioning across your different lines of business, different processes. So if you see at the screen, you would see certain processes. So this is a template where you can understand the business process. You can see that this is relevant for my business or not. And the partners would help you analyze that along with it and then help you fill this. And this becomes the single source of truth for you when you buy SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud or Grow with SAP as a solution. So that you have that clarity and transparency as to what you are getting into and what would be delivered to you. First one being that this is device agnostic. Device agnostic means be it any device, be it your handheld devices like your mobile phone, your smart watches, your personal computers, your laptops, it operates seamlessly across all the devices with no foundation with regards to the operating system. As long as your system or your device, it supports a browser, a web browser, this will work on that. While this kind of intuitive applications can help you react at the time that it is needed. Maybe a purchase order is pending. It's a very real-time scenario, right? You are traveling and probably getting into a meeting, but it requires your attention. It's no more the case that you open up your laptop, log into the system, then figure out what is pending, run a report, and then probably act on it. It's that intuitive that you get a notification, you approve or reject it, you put on your personal comments, and then you do what is needed, right? So if you talk about the security part that SAP brings in, it is a service level agreement of 99.7%, which covers your application level, which means that it is not just the operating system, not just your database, not just your application system that is secure. It's in entirety, which means where your system will be hosted in a server, on top of it the operating system would run, and your application interface where you are reacting in real time will work. So it is end-to-end service level agreement that is legally binding by SAP. That kind of promise is what SAP brings in, and that level of security to make sure that your data, your customers, your finances are secure in the cloud world. Build your own breakthroughs. It means like what we as SAP have envisaged to adopt SAP best practices more. When I was talking about the industry best practices, it means that you try to adapt those best practices which we have co-developed with the industry, innovation, and the collaboration with our industry stalwarts, right? You try to adapt them, and I would say 80 to 90% it would be a complete fit for you. When we evaluate that, we find that it is a good fit of 80 to 90%, but then 10% or 20% of it is the part which you are doing very unique and very different with regards to your industry, and that is probably the competitive edge that you have in the market. Growing without limits. Now this is the breakthrough part, or the part that we call, differentiation, or the prodigy part in your business, right? So this is where you might, as a business, want to expand into different uncharted territories, maybe new business models. As we talk about it, primarily we have seen that anything as a service is the growing era these days, right? It's no more just the product. Now as a service model, even with the cars, even with other services is going on. So what this means is this solution can even support that. You sell your product as a commodity, or you sell it as a service, is simply covered by a solution order concept in SAP S/4HANA public cloud even. So it is that scalable that you can reinvent your business model at the same way and have a single margin view across all the sales orders or service contracts and service orders. Lastly, about the go live part, which we have been talking about briefly through our previous conversations as well. Now the time of go live is drastically reduced up to the level of few weeks, as compared to what used to happen over the years, over the years or number of months even, when we talked about on-premise environment. So that is the level of innovation and optimization that the solution comes with. So it is ready to adapt. How so? The first one, redefined industry best practices, which run. Then the fit to standard scoping, which becomes your source of truth, and this feeds into the cloud application lifecycle management kind of tool, which we have, which you can govern later on through the process of implementation as to what is it that was scoped and what is being given to you. This is called the Intelligent Enterprise Vision by SAP. And core ERP, or the cloud ERP, or Grow with SAP that we talk about, is just the beginning of it. That is where you start and create a strong foundation for your business, which then is covered by different applications across the landscape. It might be your third-party applications for different business processes, can be industry-specific processes which you might have curated. And then SAP has an offering in these 3 lines of businesses as well. Your human capital management, your HRM system. We have a spend and business management business network, spend management business network covering across more than 5 lakh suppliers in India. So if you have to invest in something like that, where you want to look and probably find suppliers which are way beyond your current suppliers, that is something that you can look at. Then customer relationship management, or CRM, is another offering from SAP altogether. I'll end here and I'll hand it over to my colleague Ankur Jain, who will particularly touch about this topic and how you can leverage the power of this platform to build anything that you can envision.
Data is the hard fact which is relevant for all the companies nowadays to derive insights out of it, to let's say to run in an agile manner. Yeah. So the thing is, if you will not act as per the macroeconomics or microeconomics factor, someone else would, and then they would have the first mover advantage. So from a spreadsheet era where we used to punch in the data in the spreadsheet and all these things, now we have come up again on we have everything at the fingertips. So we have the mobile applications, we have all the data there. We can see all the data dynamics and all. Instead of reading the figures, we can just have a look on the charts and then we can see which is doing good, which is doing bad. We have a lot of charts available. What I would like to tell you here is that we at SAP are not only an ERP company anymore, but we have an entire suite of technology which, as Rishabh also talked about, that forms the baseline, wherein core is definitely there, but I'll talk about. So if you see, this is the picture which Rishabh was talking about. So I'll not spend on this. But if you see, so at the bottom, this picture has the explanation of BTP, where it has different pillars. We have app development, automation, integration, data analytics, AI. कि कैसे आप अपनी कंपनी में basically BTP को use करके you can build different things. So these are the 5 use cases. First one is the reporting with SAP Analytics Cloud. These are the smart insights in SAC or SAP Analytics Cloud as we call. What smart insights is, so basically the system has all the data and based on the data, system will tell you that this is, let's say, the top contributor in your sales. So the system can tell you that this is the declining trend for this particular product and probably this is where you need the more marketing efforts. Then we have the search to insight, so wherein you can basically talk to the system in a natural English language. You just have to click on search to insight. You type in your query, like what's the sales data for 2017? What is the sales by region? Yeah, what is the sales by product? What is my profitability? So all these normal language in English language, you can type in your query. System will come up with the results along with the charts as well. So you don't have to see that system will say this is the product, but then you are again digging the data and getting the charts कि किस chart से मैं दिखाऊं कि what the system is saying is right. So system itself will basically come up with the chart. Then we have scheduling. So scheduling where we have you have your executives who are not SAC users for sure because they don't have to get their hands dirty in designing all the dashboards and stuff. So we have the scheduling capability wherein you can schedule the reports at a particular time, week, fortnightly, or whatever the frequency is, and that too to non-SAP users as well. So you can have this published to your Gmail, Hotmail, or any other ID for that matter. Now coming to the dealer portal. So all the companies have some dealers, customers. So when I say dealer portal, doesn't mean that we can only build dealer portal, it's just a portal. The example which I'm talking about is the dealer portal here. So we have Munna Bhai and Circuit, wherein Munna Bhai MBBS तो नहीं कर पाए, but finally उन्होंने देखा कि e-bikes और ये सब आजकल काफ़ी ट्रेंड में है कि इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल सब लोग बात करते हैं इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल चलाएंगे सस्टेनेबिलिटी कार्बन एमिशन कम करना है ऑल दीज थिंग्स तो उन्होंने कहा चलो डीलर बन जाते हैं तो ई बाइक में डीलर मैनेजर बन गए सर्किट इज बेसिकली परचेजिंग मैनेजर इन समिट बाइक हु इज अ डीलर फॉर वेलोटिक्स विच इज द कंपनी रिप्रेजेंटेड हियर उस डैशबोर्ड में उन्होंने देखा कि माई ट्रेंड इज गोइंग डाउन माई सेल्स इज गोइंग डाउन द डीलर सेटिस्फैक्शन विच इज रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय द डोनट चार्ट उसमें 40% है जो डीलर डिससेटिस्फैक्शन दिखाता है अब उन्होंने सोचा कि जनता से राय ली जाए कि क्या किया जाए इसको सुधारने के लिए उन्होंने फोरम बनाया उसमें एक एक्सेलरेटेड पेमेंट डिस्काउंट प्रोग्राम को हाईएस्ट वोट्स मिले या नाउ अगेन प्रोग्राम तो बना देंगे बट ही डजंट नो कोडिंग या ही वाज नॉट इन गुड इन मेडिकल्स वो सबको साथ लेके चलने वाले थे उन्होंने फोरम से आइडिया ले लिया ये सब ले लिया नाउ हाउ टू डेवलप एन ऐप सो ऐप के लिए व्हाट SAP Business Technology Platform offers is SAP Build Apps, which is an entirely low-code, no-code platform. जहाँ पे आप without writing a single line of code, you can build the apps where you can see a glimpse of that. Where in between आप app बना रहे हैं यहाँ से drag drop करके whatever you want, you can put it. It has like 400 plus inbuilt formulas which can be embedded in the app, yeah, without writing code. Then that app was published on the portal. So that was from the Munna Bhai side of story. Now the dealer, who is basically the dealer for Velotex. So वो सब करके the payment was done and finally it was posted to S4HANA. The third one is we have incident reporting app. So this is an incident reporting app. So many a times people are not technology savvy, the workers and all, who can let's say tell you the incident, who can write the incident on a piece of paper, but they cannot log in. They don't know how to log into S4HANA and do the incident reporting in environment, health and safety system. Yeah. So what we have on a prototype here is wherein you can scan the incident which is written on a piece of paper. Yeah? Then using the OCR, optical character recognition techniques, the characters will be recognized and it will be sent to ChatGPT. Yeah? Wherein ChatGPT, based on what was written on the paper, it will try to suggest some solution. If that doesn't work, then you have a button which says post this incident to EHS system, Environment, Health and Safety System in S4HANA, and an incident is created. Then we have tracking employee attendance. So in this case, basically, let's say the after sales service or the sales employees who are generally on the go. Yeah, and when let's say someone reaches the office, now they have got the route that here, 5 places you have to go today. Yeah, and the company also wants to track whether they are actually going there or not, or they are just putting in the paper that, yeah, I have covered 5 locations and then give me the payment accordingly. Yeah. So here we have a tracking employee attendance app. So which basically what it does is it allows you to clock in your attendance only when you are in a limited parameter of that particular location. Let's say 1 kilometer or 500 meters of parameter. You cannot clock your attendance or check in at that particular location from, let's say, a 10 kilometer far distance. So that is where you have the I would not say real time, but yeah, you have a visibility at the end of the day that whether the employee has gone to all those 5 locations or not. Yeah, and when you try to check in the attendance from a long distance, it will not allow you. It will give you an error. And last but not the least, we have the automation capabilities. So where we have SAP process automation, which has the workflows and the bots as well, wherein the bot can do the repetitive task like posting of invoices in S4HANA or any kind of repetitive task. You can make your own bots which will basically do the job for you. Thank you.
I think we are all set for our next and interesting conversation. I wish to invite our very special guest, Mr. Gaurav Sharma, Head of IT, and Ms. Mayuri Karia, DGM Accounts and Taxations from Narbhiran Power and Steel, to please join me on stage. I also wish to invite Mr. V.K. Vishwanath, Executive Director, Geshaft Formulae, to please be part of our panel today. What made you think of technology and how a company like you could potentially benefit from technology? I would first wish to get the IT person's perspective before I go to the finance person.
There is no way a business can survive. For business to survive, a business to stay afloat, they have to invest in technology. They have to become more customer-centric, and they have to. So the board meetings should have, according to me, board meetings should have a talking point where tech is involved. Until and unless something like that is not brought on, I don't see the business moving forward and the business staying afloat. We taking this decision was primarily the fact that the business, the management, the promoters, they wanted some sort of a visibility as far as how my business is running. Today, what they were doing on daily basis was they were calling 10 people into their chambers, or they were having 2-hour meetings to understand what the ground reality is. Our decision to going into something like SAP was that the management concentrates on the business such that the process by itself becomes streamlined. So that was our major pointer to taking something like SAP.
What are the 2 or 3 areas that you think will drastically change with the implementation of SAP in your environment?
So for me, the first thing that I see today is that finance is something which Mayuri will be the right person to sell, but from an outsider's view of finance, what I saw was that people were getting their data in a snap of a finger. The way they were working prior to this, for them to generate reports, to crunch in data, they used to, if a very simple scenario was, if there is a board meeting in 3 days.
Right.
So the finance team would head into a shell, the team would head into a conference room, work day in and day out, so that the board meeting, the numbers can be presented. The second thing would be the production process. there was no end-to-end mapping of the process prior to this. But right now, today, if I myself, if I log in, or if somebody else today comes into the business who doesn't understand the business from a layman's perspective, he can log in, he can understand the process in just probably a couple of hours.
What made you decide about that, and what are the benefits you see from a finances lens?
Actually, when we speak about the capex and opex, we usually take consideration of NPVs. This is the first thing we decide about it. Apart from that, it is always said that account and finance is backbone of any of the business.
Totally.
Right? It is really true. When you have data, when you have information, you can have analysis of the cost, you can have analysis of the profit. Everything is true. But when you can get all this data, when you have good ERP, then you can get all this data. With SAP, I can say that right from right from finalization of purchase order, we are linking our cost to our material, which is not possible with any of other software. That is called landed cost. From procurement, production, quality, sales, whether it is CRM, everything, you can get all the data real time. When you have data, but you don't utilize it in a proper manner, then there is no meaning. With SAP, we can utilize our data, our information at optimum level, right? With SAP Public Cloud, actually it is very cost effective, first thing. Second thing, you can use it from anywhere.
Okay.
Third thing, it is very user friendly. The way we type something in Google, we type it in our software. Our users are very happy with that. It is very easy to operate. Like the own premises, you need not to remember the T codes.
Correct.
This is the T code. And you need to have a list on your table to open the any of the module. So this is very easy for our user. We are getting report. And the main benefit, you can have product costing.
I'll quickly move to you, sir. Geshaft has been instrumental in helping them decide, evaluate, and eventually you held hands to help them go live. Now, what is the message you wish to give as a partner of SAP?
The innovation that has gone into SAP's public cloud, especially the turnaround of implementation, the cutting down of cost because of long project duration, etc., are contributing to the success of the product. And then as the users are saying that they're able to use the web-based kind of an application with kind of ease of Google, etc., that's where there's a huge difference. But from SAP community for last several years now, maybe 2 decades now, I have seen the kind of changes that SAP has come up with and the kind of technology leap that they have made into public cloud, tremendous, and that's what made this success story at Narberam and Steel, where of course a lot of credit goes to the customer. The management of Narberam have put in their commitment, have put in a lot of effort to get the team together and get it up and go live. That's what I would say, Praveen.
Sure, thank you so much. Coming back to you, Gaurav, how do you ensure that an investment like this will help you achieve these objectives of what's happening in the far-flung mining territories, for example, to the customer who is perhaps waiting for an end product coming through you over a period of time?
What I found in the post-go-live scenario is the sales and delivery team, they are coming back to me. They saying कि गौरव जी ये तो बहुत अच्छा काम कर दिया आप लोग ने हमारे लिए. अब मेरे को वेंडर को फॉलो अप नहीं करना पड़ता. This is the kind of feedback that I'm getting. So I myself am dumbfounded because I did not go into, when I was with their team designing the entire value chain, this thing by itself got pre-built. I did not go ahead and pinpoint that I want this to happen, but this happened automatically. So that is where I was very happy with the technology and the power that your platform brings. For people who are planning to do a public cloud implementation, be it on 2SL or 3SL, your flavor of choice. I would really suggest you all to first of all take this 14-day trial that they are offering. Please do that. I did that at some level. And the second thing is, please make sure that you go through the documentation from top to bottom. That is the most important thing.
And on that note, I wish to mention this to the audience here, that SAP brings in 50 plus years of experience of having operated in industries like metal and mining. And when you get this kind of a feature, it is a sum total of the global best practices that we built into our products, which is available to our customer from the word go. In your industry, what are the 2 or 3 financial goals you have when you thought about implementing SAP? What were the top 2 or 3 financial goals you had in mind with which you have laid down a plan for your company?
Actually, first thing was the main, as I mentioned, it was product costing. First thing about the production data, variance analysis, quality analysis, these are the main factors which are necessary to consider. Because when you cannot satisfy your customer, because nowadays the market is driven by customers, you need to align your business according to demand of the customer. So the quality parameter, that is also very important, which we can achieve through the SAP. Now we have our quality parameters set in the SAP. We can get the variance report very easily on our fingertip, right? So, and very importantly, end-to-end product costing. You just need to set your objectives and your expectation with the software.
Absolutely.
That is the first thing. Second thing, as Vishwanathji used to tell us, change management. That is the biggest challenge you are going to face. Whether it is with user, with management, you need to become a bridge for the same.
Vishwanathji, how did you ensure that all of these things were well wrapped and covered? And with that, what is the message you would want to give to some of our companies sitting in this room?
When we were engaging with Narbairam, especially Mr. Gaurav and his team, they had all these inhibitions about security, the cloud, the compliance, etc., etc. But if you go to the SAP's websites where they are very clear and very articulate about the level of data protection, the certifications that they provide periodically about the uptime of the servers, about the confidentiality or the integrity of the data itself, which are on a very high level of certification. And those are the ones that worked for us to give confidence to the customer. And that is the industry standard as well. And that's how the customer, especially Gaurav, was satisfied that whether integrity of data or the uptime of the servers or the entire control compliance is well taken care. It's not mere by saying so, but these are well articulated on the public domain of SAP. And that's how we could convince the customer.
Thank you so much for calling these things out. I think implementing a software solution is as good as a marriage because you don't exit out of it that clearly, right, sir? So on that note, I wish you all good evening and thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much. I'm Praveen Rao, full-time employee of SAP and part-time host in such events. I sign off for the day. Thank you so much and have a good evening.